this year. The Speaker and his team have said that the federal government needs to spend less money next year than it is spending this year, meaning that they need cuts, not just a freeze in the way the White House has suggested. Is that a red line for the White House, or are you guys willing to entertain a budget for next year and the coming years that is less than fiscal year 2022?
So look, Jeremy, I'm not going to negotiate from here. I'm going to let the negotiation team speak to that. The president was very clear on Sunday. We put forward a proposal that cuts spending by more than $1 trillion. That is on top of the budget that the president put out on March 9th. That showed more up to nearly $3 trillion dollars more in budget dealing with the budget cut to cut the deficit, to be more specific. And that was in his budget. So he called for another $1 trillion on top of that. And so, look, that's where we are. I'm not going to go into the details or the specifics from here, but you heard directly from the president on Sunday, and that's what he laid out.
And then just quickly, just wanted to ask you for an update on the situation that happened last night at Lafayette Park. A U-Haul crashed into the bollards at the north end of the park just before 10 p.m. Can you tell us how quickly the president was informed of the situation? Was he moved to a secure location where any protective measures?
So look, I can tell you this, and I want to be really careful here. This is something that the Secret Service, I would refer you to for any information that they can share, specific information. That's where they would share that. I can share with you that the president was indeed briefed. He was briefed this morning on what's known by Secret Service and the Park Police. Thus far, he's relieved that no one was injured last night, and grateful to the agents and the law enforcement officer who responded so quickly. Again, I would refer you to the Secret Service.
He wasn't informed last night?
I can tell you, right, he was briefed this morning. That's when he got the briefing from both Secret Service and the Park Police on what they know thus far. Clearly, the president was here yesterday working at the White House, so of course he was here last night. But I can tell you that he was briefed by both the relevant agencies, if you will, law enforcement agencies who had to deal with this situation, and he's very thankful to them for their quick response on this particular issue.
Just to be clear on timing, is any date before June 1st, in your eyes, good enough to get this thing done?
Look, we have to get this done. That's what I can tell you.
The question is like Friday the goal,
you're
Saturday
asking
the
me
goal?
for a date. I'm not gonna get into dates. What I can say, there's an urgency. We want to see this done as soon as possible. As it relates to the debt limit, the teams are going to meet on a regular basis, multiple times a day, to deal with the budget negotiations. And this could be, this could be done today. Actually,
I guess the reason I ask is because there have been ramifications before. We've witnessed this back
Absolutely.
in 2011. It went down to the wire. They still beat the ex-state. They still got the debt limit raised at the last minute. But then days later, the credit rating was downgraded. How confident are you that, given the dysfunction we've witnessed here, it going down to the wire, our credit rating would not be downgraded?
This is why the president for the last 5 months has stated how important and how critical it is to get this done, how critical it is for Congress to do their constitutional duty. This is why you've heard an echo from here over and over, and a repetitive one, of how we think and believe this should have moved forward.
It didn't happen. So how confident are you that it wouldn't be
Look, from what we see and what has been happening in these budget negotiations, in these conversations, we see these conversations moving in a productive way. That is important, and we'll get there. It has to be a bipartisan, right? It has to be a bipartisan, reasonable budget negotiation.
Let me ask you, yesterday we heard from Speaker McCarthy multiple times, spoke multiple times in the morning, spoke multiple times after the meeting took place. We heard from the president very briefly during the meeting. For Americans that feel like they're not hearing from the president regularly, not hearing from the vice president regularly, not hearing from cabinet officials right now, where is the messaging from the White House on this beyond at this podium?
Well, you've heard from the president multiple times over the weekend. You've heard from the president multiple times during the last 5 months. He has been very clear. You've heard from me. You've heard from others. We've had our economic team out there talking about this on your network, on other networks. And so we've been very clear for the past 5 months. I wouldn't just look at the last couple of days. The past 5 months, consistently. You've heard from this president.
I feel like it's winning the messaging war on this.
I mean, look, what we have been very clear. I know folks have asked me, about this in the past, and what we saw in 2011 is that And polling showed this, that the GOP was blamed for that. That's how the Americans saw the outcome of the debt limit there and what was happening with the negotiations back then. That's what the polling showed. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to either speak from here almost every day. We speak from here about what's going on. You've heard from the president. You've heard from the economic team. You've heard from Democrats, the leadership in the House, in the Senate. Speak to this about the urgency, about Congress actually needing to act and doing their constitutional duty.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
Last one is you said that if both sides are working in good faith, this will get done. Does the president believe that Kevin McCarthy is working in good faith?
What the president believes is that the conversations have been productive, and that is important. And just to reiterate this, negotiations are hard. They're not easy. This is democracy in action, as we have seen it, as we have looked at what's been going on these past couple of days and weeks. And what both sides need to understand is neither side is going to get exactly what they want. But what we need to have is a bipartisan, reasonable budget agreement, and that's what we're working towards.
You didn't say the president thinks Kevin McCarthy is acting in good faith.
What I said is that if everyone keeps working in good faith. So, yes, we believe that that is what is happening. There is a good faith effort here. We just have to continue to do that. We have to keep doing that, and then we can get into a bipartisan, reasonable budget agreement.
In due time.
Thank you, Karine.
Go ahead.
Yeah, wait, me or behind me?
No, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Are the negotiators going to meet again today? The House negotiating team came out and seemed pretty down on the state of things and weren't even sure there would be a meeting. Do you have any sense from the White House side?
Since it just ended right before I came out, I don't have an update on a meeting for today. As you know, they met, I think, almost till midnight, around 11 o'clock last night, and then they met again almost 12 hours later. This is the budget negotiation team, just to be very specific here. They went up to the Hill, and they had a meeting for hours that lasted clearly more than 2 hours. I just don't have any update if they're going to go back to the Hill later today. I can tell you this, that the president is certainly going to get a download from the budget negotiation team today.
Did the president and Speaker McCarthy have an agreement to talk on the phone or in person on a daily basis? I think Speaker McCarthy implied that would happen. And so do they have an agreement? And is it going to happen?
I can say this, don't have any meetings or calls to announce, but obviously the staff is going to continue to have this conversation. They just wrapped up a conversation moments ago, and the president will speak to the speaker when it's necessary. I just don't have anything to share at this time.
Thank you. I know President is busy with the debt negotiations, but what is the directions or messages he has given to his team for preparing for the state visit next month?
So, as you know, the President and the First Lady are looking forward to welcoming Prime Minister Modi for the official state visit, which is, as we announced, is going to happen on June 22nd. And I'll say more broadly, as we have already shared, when we announce the visit, this will be an opportunity to reaffirm the deep and close partnership between the United States and India, and the warm bonds of family and friendship that link Americans and clearly Indians together. And so that's very important to the president. The visit will also strengthen our two countries' shared commitment to a free, open, prosperous, and secure Indo-Pacific, and shared resolve to evaluate our strategic technology partnership, including in defense, clean energy, and space. Don't have anything else to preview. Clearly, as we get closer, June 22nd is very far away on our calendar, and so once we get closer to the 22nd, surely we'll hold background calls and have more information and more details to share.
Oh, you crazy.